Good morning. I'm talking here from Council Bluffs, Iowa this morning, and I was going to talk about the next 5 quotes for Pope Francis. The last one was just one about everybody should be able to benefit from our civilization and from the earth, not just the wealthy. And of course, that's a very good quote. And he talks about here, the popes, that's the previous popes, have spoken of human ecology that's closely linked to environmental ecology. We need to understand that we're not in charge of the planet. Money is in charge of the planet, and we're tools of money, and the way it should work is that money should be our tool to use to improve the lives of our fellow human beings. Those without should be helped by those who have. And there are some that greedy people have spoken of, some terms such as socialism and share the wealth and all that, and that's not fair, we've worked for it. Well, most wealthy people in this day and age have been born into wealth, the most wealthy people especially. And those who are not understand what it's like to struggle. They were lucky they made it. But there are plenty of people who, because they made it, perhaps the others can't make it. Well, then our responsibility should be to reach out and help those who haven't made it, because we've got the ability to help them. We spent $1.75 trillion on implements of war. The World Bank estimates about $250 billion could be used. That's 1/6, 1/7 of what was spent on implements of war. $250 billion could be used, and it would make each person in the world able to have what we call a middle-class lifestyle. And if we had that situation, the deforestation and the other things that are happening to the planet wouldn't be happening so fast, because people would not be struggling to just survive. Men and women are sacrificed to the idols of profit and consumption in this culture. And Pope Francis refers to this culture as a culture of waste. We're not only the beneficiaries, but also the stewards of other creatures. This is quote 7. God's joined us so closely to the world around us, we can feel the desertification and the destruction of the forests and things of that nature, almost like a wound in our own bodies, because we are connected if we listen. We don't want to leave in our wake a swath of painful disfigurement all around the globe. Sure, it seems like some people feel like, well, I'm here for a finite amount of time, and I'll just get the best I can for me, and they're not even thinking about future generations, but maybe we should start so that we won't affect poorly the future generations. Now, as long as the problems of the poor aren't radically resolved by rejecting the absolute autonomy of markets and financial speculation and by attacking the structural causes of inequality, this is quote number 8, no solution will be found for the world problems, or for that matter to any problems. So Pope Francis was asking God to grant us more politicians who are genuinely disturbed by the state of society, the people, the lives to the poor, or the lives of the poor. And government leaders and financial leaders should take heed and broaden their horizons, working to ensure all citizens have dignified work, education, and especially health care. Health care should not be a privilege. Health care should be a right. And the worst place where health care is a privilege is here in the United States. Some people continue to defend trickle-down theories, which assume economic growth, this is 9, encouraged by free market, will inevitably succeed in bringing about greater justice and inclusiveness in the world. This opinion's never been proven. As a matter of fact, everything, every bit of evidence we can see is contrary to that whole notion. Because those who have economic power want to get more and more power. That's what they have to measure their worthiness as far as they're concerned. And if that means sacrificing the rest of the world, they're willing to do that in the name of economic progress for themselves. The excluded, the poor, are still waiting. To sustain a lifestyle which excludes others, or to sustain enthusiasm for that selfish idea, a globalization of indifference has developed. Almost without being aware of it, we end up being incapable of feeling compassion at the outcry of the poor, weeping for other people's pain and feeling a need to help them, as though all this was someone else's responsibility and not our own. That's the thing. We separate ourselves. Those of us who have funds separate ourselves and we say it's not our problem. So the culture of prosperity, for many of us, deadens us. We're thrilled if the market offers us something new to purchase, and in the meantime, all those lives stunted for lack of opportunity are just a spectacle. They're like a video game, the non-player characters, NPCs. And we cannot treat the rest of the world that way. We are all connected. We are all brothers. While the earnings of a minority are growing exponentially, so too is the gap separating the majority from the prosperity enjoyed by those happy few. This is quote 10. This imbalance is the result of ideologies which defend the absolute autonomy of the marketplace and financial speculation. Consequently, they reject the right of states charged with vigilance for the common good to exercise any form of control. A new tyranny is thus born, invisible and often virtual, which unilaterally and relentlessly imposes its own laws and rules. Debt and accumulation of interest also make it difficult for countries to realize the potential of their own economies and keep citizens from enjoying their real purchasing power. To all this, we can add widespread corruption and self-serving tax evasion, which have taken on worldwide dimensions. The thirst for power and possessions knows no limits. It feeds on itself. In this system, which tends to devour everything which stands in the way of increased profits, whatever is fragile, like the environment, is defenseless before the interests of a deified market. And that deified market and the profit itself becomes the only rule.